Sorry, go on.
Yes, I'm asking, should I open, when we go live, open the or I have to open a
Yes, you have to open a YouTube. Right, we are on. Good evening, everybody. We're just okay, Fikir. Good evening, Fikir. Welcome. We're actually live. How are you? We've actually gone live now because it's 6 o'clock. It's 8 o'clock your time, 6 o'clock my time. So welcome to everybody that has that is here with us today. Is everything technically set? Okay, so welcome everybody. Thank you for being here. We are expecting another panelist. Hopefully he will be here with us shortly. My name is Musufing. I'll introduce the other panelists shortly. John, opening words. Ooh, is he frozen? John, opening words from you, my colleague and comrade. I can hear. Yes.
And we really excited to also join Wolde and Fikir. And we are excited with today, like the session started in Kenya and now it's going countrywide and going to Ethiopia. So good evening, Habari from Kenya, and welcome to the session.
Wonderful. So just to introduce the session today, coming from Leeds in the UK, coming from Nairobi, Kenya, I think on 2 parts, and from Fikir, where are you? What city are you in?
Ethiopia.
Are you in Addis? Are you in Addis? You see, 4 international cities. So today, people, you're in for a treat. And just to introduce today, Nangadev Nakagudifi, which is Wolof for good evening, everybody. Greetings once again and welcome to our 2nd edition of Reggae Rasta Reasoning, which is today focused on Ethiopia, Eritrea, and the region of Tigray, which is currently facing a conflict which is displacing and disrupting thousands of lives. Today is about learning, for myself included, understanding and connecting African and African diaspora communities. There will also be an opportunity to offer for you listening to offer support, but we will talk about that a bit later for the ongoing situation. We use reggae music and the Rastafari faith as powerful vehicles that unify and strengthen our people and communities globally. Our event today focuses on the place where the Rastafari movement found its name and identity from the Duke or Ras Tafari, last emperor of Ethiopia, who was crowned Haile Selassie in 1932. This event also recognizes the amazing ancient, historic and prehistoric regions of Ethiopia, where humanity began, and a nation that has the most UNESCO heritage sites than any other country on the African continent. A big bad thank you to John, Titi, Mukeni Namai, who was the one who was instrumental in inviting our distinguished guests here today. Thank you, John. We have Fikir Mekonnen, and she's an anarchist who works in feminist organizing spaces. She's a graduate of Addis Ababa University with a BA in political science and international relations. She will add more to that. We have Wolde Georgis Tekle, and he is a graduate also of Addis Ababa University in the School of Journalism and Communication, and he is the editor-in-chief of Belaya Media. Welcome to Fikir and to Wolde. You have John Titi, who works with Zamaleo Acts, a cultural organization in Nairobi, Kenya, that synthesizes various Kenyan traditions of storytelling for performance and education. My name is Musufing. My focus and passion is on community cohesion through Jamaican, African arts, culture, education, music, food. So that is our introduction so far. We will be inviting those listening a little later on. If you have any questions that you wish to ask, please, if you have a pen and paper or if they're in your head, feel free to ask questions a bit later on. Today we should be wrapped up maybe within like an hour, maybe a couple of hours, and just see how things go. So feel free to add your comments. I'm thinking, should we start with some music before we go into the panel? John, what do you think? Yes, okay, let's have some music. I think John's a bit frozen at the moment. So we're going to start, and we've got a beautiful mix today of reggae music, because Reggae Rasta Reasoning is about reggae and the vehicle of reggae, of how it mobilizes people. So I've put together a selection of beautiful music from some very young artists, Tigrinya, Amharic and Eritrean young people. So I hope that you like the music. I'm going to play you one song just to start off the evening, and hope you enjoy. Okay, we're going to start with an artist called Aman Kiamo, and the track is called Telemenen. And now my speaker's not working. Sorry, people. Forgive, my speaker has decided to disconnect. There you are. You're paired, so connect, please. Have we lost somebody?
I think we lost John.
Yes. Just give me a second. Sana? Sana? The speaker's disconnected. I don't know why. Can you help me, please? Yep, I didn't touch it. It won't connect.
Yeah, I'm saying plug it in.
Can you do that for me, please, if you don't mind?
It's right there.
Thank you. Where?
No, it's unplugged up proper, bro.
Right. Come on, technician. When your technician is also your son. Okay. So that should play now, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Do we have a singer in the house?
Ha! No. And I didn't bring one of my poems along, so it's not connected.
That's because you got to turn it back on, bro.
He's laughing at me now.
Yo Isvan, Wardukalai, Yo Machi, Danelia, Young መቼም እንዳንለያይ ትበቃችኋለሽ መሬት ተስማምታችሁ ኑሩ በእኔ ፍቅር ነው አትጨነቁ ነፃ ነው አየሩ ብሎ ሳይሰስት የሰጠን እያለ ባለቤቱ ምን ይሉት ፈሊጥ ነው የሰው ልጅ ተባልቶ መሞቱ ቀይ ጥቁር ብንሆን ወይም ከነጮቹ ከአንድ ግንድ አይደሎ የዛፍ ቅጠሎቹ ምንም ብንበዛን ካፈር በላይ ሆነን ከብደናት አናውቅም ለማለት አምርቀን ምን ተገኘን ከጦርነት ከበጠበጡ አይታ አይበልጥም ወይ መካፈሉን የፍቅርን ጠበት እስከ መቼ ለማይረባው አስተሳሰብ ታጥረን የምንኖር ለዘመናት ፍቅርን ተረበን መቼ ሆን በዓለም ላይ ፍቅራችን በርትቶ ወርቅ አልማዙ ጌጡ ለሰው ልጅ ተረቱ ሆኖ ሰውነቱን ለክብሩ መለኪያ ወዝወዝ የምንለው ያለ መታወቂያ ወዝወዝ ነው ወደ ግራ ወደ ቀኝ ነው ሰሜን ደቡብ አቅጣጫ ነው መታወቂያ ሰው መሆኔ ነው ወዝወዝ ነው ወደ ግራ ወደ ቀኝ ነው ምስራቅ ምዕራብ አቅጣጫ ነው መታወቂያ ሰው መሆኔ ነው እንግዲህ ተው ተለመነን ተው ለሁላችንም አንድ አባት የሆንከው ፍቅርን ሀሁ ብለህ ለእኛ አስተማርከው አበጃጅ ተምርን ሰተጣልቃ ሳትገባ ሳታደላ የፈጠርከን አድርገው በአበባ ሰማን ታረቀን ማረን አባባ ለእኛ ስሜት የላቸው ወደሚባባ ሶስተኛው ዓለም እያሉና ሳዩን እምባ ገቡብን አድንቀው በስስጎናችን አገኙት ቁልፉንም ለድክመታችን ፈጁን አፋጁን ልብስ ካይራራ አረጉን አይታችሁ የቤተ ሙከራ ካጠፋን ልብ ይራራ አውጣን ከዚህ መከራ በንጹህ መሬት ሆኖ ሶሳለ እንግዳ ሆኖ እነሱ ባለቤት ሳረጉን ባዳ ካሮቱን ስሰጥ ዳቦ ነው ብላ አሻፈረኝ ካልከኝ አድርጌው ዱላ ጠርጌኝ እየተባልን መኖሩ መሮናል እኛ አፍሪካውያን በል ሳበው ችግራችንን ተብትቦ የያዛት ዓለማችንን ሰርዘው መጥፎውን ከታሪካችን.
Oh, that was a bit abrupt. Thank you so much for listening to that. So that was our introduction today. That was Mr. Aman Kiyamo, and the track was Telemenen from 2017 with the beautiful language of the region. Oh my goodness. So I think we'll just make a start. If our panelists, Fikir, if you can please just do another introduction. And then we'll ask Wolde to do the same, and then we'll start to talk about why we're here today. Over to you, Fikir.
Thank you, Musufing. My name is Fikir, as you said. I have a PhD in political science. I work in feminist advocacy mostly. I've also been organizing mutual aid after college. Right now, the biggest thing I'm concerned about is
Just a second, John. If you're not, can you mute? Would you mind muting if you're going to shuffle your papers? Sorry. Thank you. Sorry, Fikir.
Oh, we didn't hear that, John. You muted yourself before you spoke.
Yes. Okay, Fikir, did you finish for now? I actually did your introduction, I think, just before you came on as well. I did. But it's good. We can still, yes. Thank you. Wolde, can we hear from you? Ooh, Wolde. Okay, let's just continue. I'm not sure where he is. Hello, hi. Good evening, Wolde. It's Musukando is my business name. It's Musufing. Musufing, but to be honest, it really doesn't matter. As long as there's a musu, as long as there's a musu in it, I'm happy.
And for raising the topic as a original issue. So my name is Wolde. I'm a practicing journalist. Now I'm tending to political activism.
Thank you so much. So to start, I think it would be good for those listening, watching, who are maybe not be totally familiar with just some of the historical context and backdrop of Ethiopia, Northern and Eritrea. If we could get some like historical and understanding about that region of the continent on the Horn of Africa. From Wolde? Okay, can I sorry, I just got a comment that is everybody's volume maximized, because some of the listeners are saying they can't hear. Can you make your microphone as close to your mouth as possible, so because some of them are saying they can't hear. Sorry, Wolde. Okay, let me yeah, keep going, and if it's a problem, if it's still, it should be fine now, it should be better.
Ethiopia is one of the ancient states in Africa. It has its own civilization, which we can, explain with calendar, alphabet, and other historical elements. And it also claims to be not colonized. It has been briefly occupied. It uses its own working language, unlike other African nations. So now, just having said that, the first thing, now Ethiopia is at war with itself. The federal government and the Tigray regional state governments are in conflict, and many people have been displaced. More than 96,000 people.
People are saying that they're messaging saying that apparently their volume's low or whatever.
Many are also internet displaced, and there are killings, raping, and all. And then the Eritreans are also involved. I guess with the invitation of the federal government of Ethiopia. So really, Ethiopia is now. But lucky in an unfortunate time.
Wow. One of the things that I think would be helpful for people to understand also is the can you hear me? Is the way that the regions are set up, because from what I understand, there's the federal government. And from what I understand, each region has its own government or its own system, but they're still connected to the federal government. So how does that actually work, so that people are clear?
Yeah. Ethiopia is a federation.
Yes.
A federation of nine states and two city administrations. And each regional state have their own government. But, they subscribe to the federal government. Yes. But still, the process of state building in Ethiopia is still, in the process, never ends. And there is an ideological difference between parties. Especially, there is also a difference in the way people want the state to be structured.
Yes.
So basically, the war is a result of a conflict in ideas how to, build the state. because I don't think we have a country that has, well established federal values. So there are people, politicians, who want a centrist country, which basically a kind of unitary government, and there are people who want a federation, sometimes a losing federation.
Okay.
So this is one of the root causes for the conflict. Second, there is, identity politics in the country, and sometimes socialized with some hate and extremism. So those are also the misunderstanding, miscommunication, but the differences in some cultural values and especially political values brought, I guess, the war we are going through now.
Okay, thank you. I'm just hearing some interference and I have no idea what it is. Thank you for that. From my understanding as well, because I'm also here learning, when you create a federation, it's, I think, in people's minds who don't understand, the nation is a singular nation, but within the nation, there are different ethnicities, languages, cultures, traditions. And from what can you hear me?
Yes,
Sorry,
yes, I can.
It's very quiet. And
yes, we can hear you.
Yes.
We can hear you. We are listening.
Thank you. So it seems as though some of the people are saying, well, what about my ethnicity and my autonomy and my rights and is that more or less what you're saying? That
Yes, it's actually a difference in interpretation of self-administration, self-determination, and the identity protection. And plus, there was a debate on the interpreting the constitution and other legal issues. So yes, it is a result of those things.
Right. Okay. And Fikir, feel free to come in at any time. So as of November of 2020, there's been an escalation.
Yes. So now we're in a war for the last 3 months.
Yes. And do you feel how do you feel? Do you feel that there's an end in sight? Do you feel that this is going to be more protracted? What is your observation and feeling at the moment?
Well, it's not a simple thing.
Exactly.
And it's not a war with a few political entities. People are involved, and I think it will continue for some time. It will be basically a protracted war. It has escalated into kind of civil war now. So I don't think it will have an end soon.
That is so sad to hear.
And actually, it has been regionalized,
Yes.
So there is Eritrean involvement now. Ethiopia is also having conflict with Sudan, and internally there are many questions. The COVID is also affecting the economy.
Of course.
So all this, aggravates what's happening.
Yes. So that is so. Oh my goodness, it's mind blowing, really. And at the core, people are like fleeing to where they can flee to into Sudan, into neighboring countries. It's total devastation for the people of the region.
There is a total humanitarian crisis.
Absolutely.
And there is 3 months still now in communication blackout. There is no access to humanitarian agencies to that region. And there is no light, electricity, internet connection.
Yes.
In that region as well. Even the world is not knowing about what is happening in that particular region as well.
For some reason, Fikir, we have you twice on screen.
Yes, we have two Fikirs.
Ooh, I'm just wondering, did you? All right, it's just one now. Okay.
Okay. Also, Musufin, just to add on, they can hear now. The voice is fixed,
Fantastic.
and letting you know that we are being people are tuning in from the Smiling Coast,
Fantastic.
Gambia. Yes.
Good evening, Gambia. My Gambian family. How are you all? Thank you for joining us today. So I'm just wondering, John, can you turn your microphone back on? I'm just wondering if people didn't hear, do we need to reintroduce just to, because they may have missed, sorry, I'm getting text as well.
Yeah, I think it will be good to just reintroduce again.
Reintroduce.
I'm sorry, I had to switch to my mobile phone because the computer again started to bring, so I missed a bit of the intro, and also yeah.
So do you want me to do the intro again? Just a bit of it?
Yeah, can be good.
Okay. So listeners, thank you. So please bear with us regarding the technicals. We're not a studio with a budget. We're just doing the best that we can. So please just bear with us. I'll do the intro again. Thank you for coming and listening. Nangadef, Naka Gudifi to everybody. And we're here today with some wonderful guests who've taken out their Sunday and their time. They're very busy people, but they're also very passionate about their nation and what's happening in their nation and regionally as well. So that's why we're here today. Reggae Rasta Reasoning, Ethiopia, Eritrea and Tigray. We use reggae music and the Rastafari faith as a powerful vehicle that unifies and strengthens our people and communities globally. Our event today focuses on the place where the Rastafari movement found its name and identity. From the Duke or Ras Tafari, the last emperor of Ethiopia who was crowned Haile Selassie in 1932. So it's like Rasta, born in Ethiopia, goes to Jamaica, comes back, because you now see young Ethiopians, etc., who are now got the locks, got the red, gold, and green. So it's like the way that the beauty and the culture, it goes away, it comes back and circulates, and it unifies the people, most importantly. And Ethiopia being, as Wolde said, a place of enormous world history, ancient history, prehistoric, in fact, to historical and ancient history and culture. So it's an extremely rich cultural nation that we're talking about. So that's what today is about. We should have another panelist, but may not. So we're just going to move forward. Also, listeners, people watching, if you have any questions, please type them into the YouTube feed. And Fikir and Wolde will hopefully be able to answer those questions. Fikir Makonnen is an anarchist who works in feminist organizing spaces. She's a graduate of Addis Ababa University with a BA in political science and international relations. We also have with us Wolde Georgis Tekle is a graduate also of Addis Ababa University on the School of Journalism and Communication, and he is the editor-in-chief of Belaya Media. So, any questions? Let's just, I think we were going to do them after, but let's just keep going. If any questions come up, John, we'll just answer them as they go along. So, Fikir.
Definitely.
Thank you. Would you like to add onto what Wolde started to speak of? Is Fikir frozen? Fikir. Okay. I think, Wolde, are you still there?
Yes, I am.
We'll wait until, it might be her internet. I'm thinking it's her internet. She's having problems.
Okay. Yes.
Oh, are you back?
She's on.
Yeah, she's back.
Fikir.
Yes.
Hi.
I guess she is facing internet problem.
Yes, I think it's internet problems. Are you?
Oh, yes, please. My connection was spotty, so
Yes, we thought so.
my
Okay.
That's okay. People, listeners, the watchers, you just have to bear with the internet. We're speaking from how many different corners? UK.
Oh, you can't hear me?
Yes, I can now, but you
We
you
can
were
hear. We can
frozen.
hear you. Can hear you.
You were frozen briefly. Hello, Fikir? Ooh,
Always here.
internet. Yeah, your internet.
Can you hear
Yes, it's coming and it's going.
me now?
Are you able to start talking? And yes, we'll just have to bear with the process. So would you like to add?
My connection is very spotty today.
Okay. We'll do our best.
Okay.
I'm not sure if you can hear me.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can hear you.
We can hear. So you'd like to? Oh dear.
Okay.
I'm just thinking, what if you turn off your video? Oh, she's gone. Right, she's gone. Maybe I'm thinking if she turns off her video and she just does audio so we can at least hear her.
Yeah, that will be good.
Any word from Abesalom?
No word yet from him. So I think let's hope he will join.
Yes.
He will join again, but no word from
Let's just keep
Abisalom.
going. Okay, Fikir, you're back with us. How's your connection? If you speak, then we could be able to see. Oh dear, her connection is giving us issues. So John, in the meantime, why did we choose this topic?
Yes, can you hear me now?
I can now.
Yeah, we can hear you. We can hear you.
Fikir, maybe if you turn off your video, she's gone.
Oh, she's good.
Okay, John, why this topic when we decided to have our second Reggae and Rasta reasoning?
Yeah, the second Rasta reasoning is really good because the idea of our show is to go around the continent and to connect people and also to look at the social, political issues. And as we know, like reggae is a unifying social movement through songs. And like you find like why the issue is because the issue is affecting not only Ethiopia, it's also affecting the whole of Africa and also affecting the global world, what we call the global village.
Absolutely.
And for me, Ethiopia is a darling to me. I really love Ethiopia. Ethiopia was my first African country to visit. It's a multicultural of people.
Yes.
Very down to earth, and you'll find very historical, just as Wolde has just shared. Very loving people, and also like talking about Pan-Africanism, we are looking at Africans, not as within our boundaries, like the imaginary boundaries.
Yes.
We are talking about crossing the boundaries, and we cannot move together as Africans if we are scattered. We are fighting amongst ourselves and stuff. So like it's so pertinent, like having the session is like drawing an online canvas for ordinary people to come and talk and debate and connect and reason together.
And reason together, absolutely. And as we talk about different regions of the continent, we can't ignore things that are happening in reality for the people. Yes.
Yeah,
So
definitely. We can't ignore.
We have to be cognizant and we have to be realistic because this is real. Some of us can't imagine what this must be like for the people on the ground right now in the Tigray region who are going through what they're going through right now. It's unimaginable. So as human beings, we recognize this terrible situation. And
yeah, truly.
And today, people listening, watching, this is your opportunity. If you don't understand, ask questions. We lost Fikir I think her internet is not very good at the moment, so she may pop back in at any time. So let's just continue. So maybe I think shall we have another musical break? What do you say?
Let's have a music.
Let's have a
and
musical break. If
Yeah,
you need
yes.
some water, if you need to do something,
yes.
then do that. So everybody, I put together some gorgeous music from the region. So the next track, Eritrean. Okay, let's have this. beautiful, beautiful music. I don't even want to stop it. And that was beautiful duo cover by Abrahimo Wedi Dejat and Bini Boss. And they are a duo who are, I'm not sure if they're partially sighted or blind, but this is a duo of two guys with, they've got a beautiful video on YouTube. When the show is finished, I will make sure I give you a list of where to find the music. But this is a wonderful duo from the region who are both blind, partially sighted. I'm not sure which, but that was their music. And the video is just gorgeous. So I'll share all the links with you. Singing in Tigrinya. So, Fikir, let's hold you while we've got you.
Yeah, yes, yes.
We're going to hang on to you for your Wi-Fi, your internet connection.
Yes.
I'm just wondering, Fikir, I'm wondering if it would be easier maybe to take your video off and we just hear you while you're speaking, even though you're so wonderfully beautiful. Not to take it personally, but because we want to hear what your internet. Let's just keep going and see how it goes for now. Over to you, Fikir. Oh gosh.
Fikir.
Fikir, yes.
Oh gosh. Fikir.
She's having.
It's the internet, isn't it?
An internet problem.
The internet. Okay.
Oh, I'm not sure how we're going to do this. No, her internet isn't happening. Addis Ababa internet. What's going on?
Internet, yes.
It's always like this.
Yes.
It doesn't work well.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
She left.
Okay.
She'll be back. She'll be back.
She left, yeah.
So let's just continue with between Wolde and John, because John, you're also a font of enormous knowledge when it comes to this topic as well.
Yes.
So let us keep discussing some of the issues and understanding in the region, please.
Yes. So it was very interesting. We've been following with the situation as Kenyans, and since we saw since it was since November 4th, and these things started bit under the cover of COVID, COVID-19.
Yes.
And it has been really, really interesting, and because we've been looking at Ethiopia, and also having when the Prime Minister got the Nobel Peace Prize, before there was a lot of political unrest and stuff. So we saw that there was light at the end of the tunnel. But under the COVID again, things came down, and it's quite really, really interesting to follow and to follow what is happening on the ground, because we've been following, it also hit in the Kenyan newspapers.
Of course.
The situation, the dire situation on the ground in Tigray.
Mm-hmm. So
in Tigray on the ground, and we were really, really hurt. Yes.
So for those who are not fully aware, what is the current situation on the ground in terms of people fleeing?
Yes.
What are we talking about?
For what I can say, it's war. The war is still going on in Tigray, and it's insecurity. What I can get from the media, the war is still going on. It's not still safe in some areas. There's still you find the TPLF, the army, and ENDF, and also the invasion from Eritrea.
Yes.
The war is still going on, and the situation is still dire. I've been seeing.
So there's military in Tigray from Eritrea and from Ethiopia right now, which is destabilizing.
Yes. As in what is said by the media.
Yes.
Including other regional forces?
Okay.
Amhara militias and other regional forces. There was also one correction I
Yes.
wanted to make earlier.
Please.
Ethiopia has 10 regional states instead of 9.
Yes.
Thank you. Yes.
10 regional states and 2 city administration.
Right.
They're supposedly supposed to be sovereign, but they're not. So we've had around 30 plus years of authoritarian rule. So the federations are not really a federation. They do not have their autonomy. And some of the region's presidents are even assigned from the center, from the federal Addis.
Right. I was also reading that constitutionally within the Ethiopian constitution, I thought that states had a right to secede if they chose. Is that a reality, or is that just something written on paper?
That's very debatable. It's not states that have the right to secede. But the Constitution says that nations and nationalities have the right to secede.
Okay.
So some of the nations, we have 80 plus different nationality nations in Ethiopia, and some of them have their own, what you'd call.
Sorry, John, we can hear you.
Sorry.
That's okay. Sorry,
No
Fikir. Continue.
Okay. So it's not actually the states, the regional states, that have a right to secede.
Right.
But particular ethnic groups. Some of these ethnic groups have their own regional states, which would mean they can secede, their region can secede.
I see.
But the sovereignty is for the nations, nationalities, and people.
Thank you.
And we're talking about 80 plus groups here.
Wow. That's yeah, I can't even, yeah, that's a lot. 80 plus. Fikir. Sorry.
Yes.
Sorry, yes. So that is that, so the complexity, it's not as simple as Wolde said. He doesn't feel for now that the situation is going to be stabilized soon.
I share that, especially with the involvement of Eritrea.
Yes.
The Eritrean troops have changed the political and military dynamics, and they're not here to do us a favor. They're not coming in and leaving back. The consequences of their involvement will be very long and very bitter. We've already been seeing what they're doing in most parts of Tigray with looting, raping, mass killings. It's very brutal what's happening. It's inhumane.
It's inhumane, absolutely. So in terms of numbers at the moment of people who have had to leave their homes, leave their lives, fleeing to Sudan, how many people are we talking about? Tens of thousands?
Officially, we're talking about around 60,000, but there are reports saying that there are more that have not been registered.
Okay.
And the Ethiopian troops, the ENDF, has also been blocking way so that refugees do not find a safe haven in Sudan. They've been blocking their way, so most people could not escape.
Okay. So,
but there are more than 1 million internally displaced people.
Yes.
There are 1 million IDPs.
And this also includes Eritrean people who fled from Eritrea to Tigray. I think I was reading, who have also been caught up.
The ones in Sudan?
Yes. People who'd left Eritrea because they felt that their safety and security was threatened. So they came into Tigray, but now they also Eritrean refugees as well.
I'm not very sure about this.
Okay,
I'm not very
okay.
sure if the Eritrean refugees are in Sudan, but we know for sure that Eritrean refugees have been kidnapped and taken back to Eritrea.
Oh my God.
Some were brought to Addis and flown. They were flown to Eritrea, to Asmara.
Yes.
I'm not sure they let them leave,
Okay.
even in Sudan.
Wow.
Yeah. Also, we've been. Okay.
Wolde?
Some of them, yes, some of them actually joined the people from Tigray who fled to Sudan. So there are also Eritrean refugees from Tigray who fled to Sudan.
Yes.
But as Fikir said, most of them are kidnapped and then taken to Eritrea,
Killed.
and some of them fled to Addis, and also obviously yes, killed while they were in their camps.
So the situation.
And their camps were
Also,
destroyed.
Sorry, go on, John.
Also to add on, we saw like there are some refugees who are not accounted for, like I think 20,000. I don't know the figure, but looking at the news and like there are some refugees who are from Eritrea who are in Tigray, like they cannot be accounted for.
Yes, that's
Yes,
true.
some,
The Ethiopian government recently released a statement saying that they have moved the camps since the one in Shire, the camp in Shire, was not safe for Eritrean refugees as it's too close to the Eritrean border,
Okay.
which is very ironic because they're the ones that have exposed them to all this brutality. Now they're claiming they're concerned about them.
So in terms of supporting the humanitarian support mechanism is hindered in part because there's no access to Tigray.
Yes, the Ethiopian government has blocked all access to Tigray, and international aid organizations that wanted to help had to get a permit, which was a very long and tiring process.
Yes.
But some have found their ways in areas that are controlled by the ENDF.
Okay.
Most of which are areas that have been resettled, that have experienced ethnic cleansing. They've been cleansed of Tigrayans, and those who now settle there are Amhara militias and Amhara Fannos. Fano is a youth fascistic group.
vigilante group.
Yes. Okay. So if people want to support right now, how can people support this situation? Whether it be through, how can people support?
Okay, Wolde, do you want to speak or should I?
Yeah, you can continue.
Okay. For me, I think the best way people can support right now is to appeal to the international community to pressure the Ethiopian government to stop killing its people, to stop killing Tigrayans. There are lots of funds going around, people collecting money, but they have no way of distributing it as the Ethiopian government has blocked access. It's not that there's shortage of money, it's not that there's shortage of food. The people are deliberately being starved by the government. So if anybody wants to help, they should help us appeal to the international community to pressure the government, the Ethiopian government, Abiy's government, to stop what it's doing. The other mechanism they can support is they can help refugees that have already escaped and those that are in Sudan.
Yes.
Their well-being is threatened, as Abiy has in the parliament. He has said that those refugees are killers. He has called them murderers and killers.
Wow.
Yes.
And their safety is very concerning. So people should help ensure that refugees in Sudan are protected. They can raise funds and give it to aid organizations, or even refugees they're organizing themselves, and help us with appealing to the international community to stop what it's doing to Tigray and Tigrayans.
Wow. Yes, this is serious. So, I mean, after when this broadcast goes on the channel, I will add any links and contacts that people can connect to support in every way it can, and we'll continue this dialogue because it's difficult to find the words. It's difficult to find the words to accurately say what's inside a person because it's unimaginable, really. But it's important to look realistically at what is happening and to know what's happening on the ground. And we don't know fully because, as you say, access and information isn't flowing freely at all. So I think we're going to have some more music, and when we come back, we will. Yes, I'll message. Have we got any comments at all, John?
Yeah, no, we haven't gotten any comments, but also check from your side because I'm trying to refresh my computer.
Yep.
Sometimes it might miss some.
Yeah, I'm not seeing any questions, just comments at the moment. So this is Reggae Rasta Reasoning, and today we're reasoning on Ethiopia and the ongoing war in Tigray region as well. We're going to have a bit more music, not to kind of forget what it is we're talking about, but to just kind of mix up the energy a little bit, because within this horrible catastrophe, these are men, women, children, young people, adults, elders. We're all the same in that we all want to just live our lives. We want to, cook our food, go to work, and it's unimaginable to know if that was completely obliterated for you. There are people on the planet who are living that right now. So despite the difficulties we're going through with COVID, not having work, I'm not saying it's not important, but it's important sometimes to look at some of the other things that are going on in the world as well. And this is one of them, and it's very pressing. And as Fikir said, if you want to support, there are ways that you can. This is an international crisis. It's not just about the region of Ethiopia, Tigray. It's really an international crisis. My voice is about to go. Well, it's not about to go. I'm going to drink some water, but I'll play some music as well. Thank you so much to Fikir and to Wolde. Don't go anywhere. We're going to come back shortly. So we're just going to have some more wonderful music. This is Rasjani, and it's an upbeat track called Hule Hule. It's a lovely track. Ethiopian reggae music. Is my speaker off? Yes, it is. Oh, come on. Little bit of a rewind, people.
Fire brigade, me tell you, the fire get a red. Hey, Mr. DJ. Play I good music every day. Roots rock dance already. Play I good music every day. Big up on us, Mr. Selector. Boom in the dance room. From the top, ድምፁ ትንሽ ከፍ ለቀቅ ይቀጥቀጥ መሬቱ ደግሞ ብረቅ ይበል ደመቅ ይበል ሞቅ ሞቅ ዝሏል ጉልበት ይበል ዘና ባንተ ምርጫ ልዩ ቃና ቢቀቡን ሰፍ ሚሰለክታ ናይሳም ተድረስ ሜኪን ሀብታ ሁነ ከላይ ሁነ ከከፍታ በላይ በላይ ሙዚቃ መንፋታ ሙዚቃ ለሰላም ሙዚቃ ለደስታ ሙዚቃ ለህይወት ለመንፈስ እርካታ ዘና በሙዚቃ ዘና ፈታ ፈታ ጥሩ ጥሩ ሙዚቃ ሁልጊዜ አጫውታ ሚሰለክታ in a dance or reggae category. See how we nice in a party, sweet like sugar and spicy. We have enough more. Retail, wholesale, in the store. Everybody looks you on the dance floor. Do you like you never do it before? When you're feeling nice, making sure in a dance or party there's no trouble. We all are responsible. Hule, may I good music every day. Roots rock dance and reggae. Hule, may I good music every day. Big up on us, Mr. Selector. Ale, boom. Boom in the dance room. Ale, boom. Fire in the room. Still I see I know. Up. Me want to see everybody up. Jano pan a high level up. Watch out how rush man a jump up. Body move now. Just like you have an engine. Watch out, the place getting hotter. See the roof is on fire. Fire getting hotter. Red, can't pull by water. Where I say, me selector, he's your counter garbage stop. Make all the crowd move. Let them make it clap, don't stop. The rain me fa sol la si do. Flex, show me your flow. Dance the reggae ska. And play some calypso. Put music from the top, Mr. DJ, please rewind and feel the vibe. Oh, I man feel like mashing up the place. So give me mic, battle, everybody move your whole body move. Everybody just get in the groove. You didn't move your hand, happy move. You shoulder, happy move. Your head, your neck, everything, happy move. Your ticket, happy move. May I good music every day.
Yes, Hule Rasjane featuring Jerusalem JJ from 2018. Some upbeat music there. And I love the way that it connects so beautifully with like Jamaican dancehall and the movement. So again, another example of people coming together to create beautiful art and beautiful music. Wolde, are you still there?
Yes, I am, and thank you for the music.
Oh, it's an absolute pleasure. I wanted to ask you and Fikir, but I'll start with you, in terms of how the current situation is impacting your work and how your work is supporting or reflecting what is going on as well, realistically, right now. I'm going to ask you as well, John, shortly.
Okay.
Wolde, starting with you.
Okay. First of all, thank you, Fikir, for the correction. We have now 10 regional states. You know, last year we got the 10th regional state based on the self-determination to secession article. So people got, they demanded for a regional state and they got that. Currently, with the situation in Tigray, it's affecting many of us. I'm from Tigray, and then I'm here in Nairobi because I can't work there. I came here to save my life, literally. So many people are ethnically profiled. Many of them, people who live outside Tigray, are also the victims of this conflict. They are by default criminal suspects, and then they are jailed, they are taken to prison, or they are under house arrest. So many of the Tigrayans are expelled from their workplaces. The members of the federal forces, the defense forces, are fired or told to stay at home. So basically, there is no Tigrayan soldier now in the federal defense forces. Tigrayans in many public offices, federal public offices, are fired from their jobs. Some of them are arrested. And I was working in Addis, and then had no chance to practice my career, journalism. I cannot balance my stories. The federal government thinks it has only It's only the federal government that has the right to tell stories. So we were not able to include the voices from Tigray, and then if I cannot, you know, do properly my job, and also for the fear of arrest, I just left the country and come here. So and many people are dying every day of starvation. You know, there is no access to humanitarian aid, and everything that the people had was stolen, looted by the Eritrean and Ethiopian forces. So, as we have said earlier, more than 96,000 people are out of their regional state. They are in Sudan. Close to a million are displaced. They are in the villages, in the jungles, you know, out of their homes. So there is no access to health. There are no medicines, and there is no internet, electricity, anything, literally. So people are in dark. Um, so almost they have no life, uh, and you know, we just explain it in the in a genocide situation.
Yes.
So it's that extent bad.
So you yourself are a refugee from your own country right now.
Yes, because I can't live there. I
Yeah.
can't work properly there. So I just kept, you know, an arrest.
Yes.
I was blocked for a week at the airport, Bole International Airport, while I was trying to come here, and it's after a week that I could be able to fly here, for example.
Yes. Well, we're so glad. So
They had no reason
detain
to,
you.
you know, yeah, to detain me. It's just they saw on my ID card, and then they knew that I'm a Tigrayan, and then it was enough for them to suspect me as a criminal.
Wow. So using what I mean, I was some of the reports I've been reading, words like genocide, cleansing are being refuted by the Ethiopian government, and what they're saying is this was supposed to be an operation, go into Tigray, because I believe that the TPLF attacked a federal military base. Is that right? And their reasoning was that they went in to sort it out, but this what the result, it couldn't be more worse.
In any way, the war was coming.
Yes.
It has been, you know, 3 years now since these two forces get in conflict, and everyone was getting prepared. You know, the federal government, the regional government of Tigray, they were preparing themselves for this showdown.
Yes.
So this is just a pretext.
Yes.
Otherwise, you know, the federal government was trying to topple down that regional state government by force, and then the regional government was trying to defend itself, and of course they attacked on the basement there, the defense forces, but it was a defense mechanism way. So it's not about this attack.
Yeah.
It
So
has
that
long
is a
history.
pretext.
Yeah, it's a pretext, and after all, there is a bigger reason that, as I said earlier, is an ideological state building difference that brought us here.
Yes.
Not this such pretexts or the difference between the federal government and the regional government.
Thank you, Wolde. So, as a journalist, how has this impacted your work? I mean, it's impacted you as a human being in that you've had to take yourself away completely from your country to somewhere completely different. How has this impacted on your work, and you know how your work and progresses, etc.?
Well, basically, I'm now stateless.
Yes.
You know, and I don't feel at home in Ethiopia. So Ethiopia doesn't impress me, I'm ethnically profiled like my other fellows. Plus, as a journalist, there is a problem in the Ethiopian media landscape in general, and particularly for a Tigrayan, it become very difficult now. So I now I'm just far away. I can't get the context. I can't get real information. For example, I can't witness. I can't. That means I can't do my job
Yes.
properly. That's why I'm also tending to human rights activism, to political activism. If you are uprooted from your place, you couldn't have the evidences that the factual checking that help you to act as a real journalist.
Absolutely. But you continue. I mean, even doing this today, you're doing what you can
Yeah,
do to continue.
of course, we
Yeah.
are trying to expose the crimes there, the crimes happening against these people. So we're trying our best. I'm working now for some diaspora media reaching to Tigray.
Yes. Thank you so much, Wolde, for that. Thank you. Fikir, are you still with us?
I'm with you,
The
yes.
same question. I mean, wow. Impact on you, on your work, in terms of what's happening. I can feel your passion. I can feel your anger. I can feel so many things. How has this impacted your work?
Okay. First of all, I want to. Weldy, I just want to say I'm glad you're safe and I'm sorry for everything you had to go through. For
Thank
everything
you. Thank
every
you, Fikir.
Tigrayan had to go through.
Absolutely.
No one deserves this. So by the time the war started, I was still in school and I was doing my paper.
Yes.
And the war started on November 4th.
Yes.
And the 2 months that followed must have been the hardest months that I ever had to go through. I had family in Mekelle, which is the capital city of Tigray.
Yes.
And I was not able to hear from them. I didn't know whether they were alive, whether they were killed by the shellings, whether they died of starvation. And I had an elderly grandmother who was there, who needed medicine continuously. She was diabetic and she needed medicine, and there was no way for her to access any kind of medicine in the city, in the whole region, actually.
Wow.
And that was very worrying.
Of course.
It's surreal. What was happening was surreal. I would break down in the middle of the road. I would start crying, and life was not normal at all. And then late December, I started a job. I started a new job, which was, I just graduated and I started a new job. I'm supposed to be very busy and
a new chapter to your
very
life.
effective.
Yes, as a young woman.
It was a complete shift. It was very hard to get accustomed to it, and then the gaslighting that happens that people face from Ethiopians, that Tigrayans face from Ethiopians, is surreal. I don't know if it's intentional or if they really believe it, but most people in Addis, I'm speaking from Addis, so most people in Addis believe the regime.
Yes.
And they take everything for granted. Every propaganda he being Abiy, spreads. The man went into the parliament and told the parliament, the people's representatives, mind you, that a single individual has not been killed. A single civilian has not been killed in the war. And people bought that and people believed him.
Yes.
I don't know if it was intentional or not, or whether, I think maybe they're just scared of facing the truth and being responsible for supporting what caused us hundreds and thousands of lives.
Yes.
But yeah, so now I started a new job and I've been very occupied with that. And it's hard. It's hard. Life is going on as normal in Addis for many people.
Mm-hmm. But it isn't normal.
It doesn't seem like
the world isn't. So did you hear from your family eventually?
I did. Yes. They're back in Addis now.
Yes.
They came here.
It's good to hear.
My close family is here.
Yes.
Now, thankfully.
We're glad to hear that.
But thank you. But there are still members of the extended family that I haven't heard of.
Of course. Yeah.
Yeah, we're just hoping we get as many of them alive as possible. We know that all of them will not be alive.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's for sure. Yeah.
Wow. So in terms of the work that you do, how is that reflective? How's the current situation reflective in what you're doing, your activism, your stand? I mean, the fact that you're speaking how you're speaking, that is one of the huge things, because that can't be easy either. I think sometimes we don't appreciate when we're on the other side of the world what it means to stand up when you're in a place where it's not always welcomed to be that open, but you're speaking a truth.
Yes, and I understand that a lot of people are scared, but even being scared for your safety, even being scared of getting arrested is a privilege when people are dying, when young kids are being raped. And we have to use our voice. We don't have an option. Many people are silent. Many people are silent, and we can't have that. It's costing us lives. I've been trying to write articles earlier days when the war started. I've been trying to engage people, to make them realize, maybe thinking that these are people I know. These are my friends. These are members of my family, people I know in real life, good people.
Yes.
And my first understanding was, okay, they cannot know what this is and still support it.
Yes.
And I was engaging with a lot of people, including on social media, people I don't even know. I was trying to engage with them to try to make them see, quote unquote. But then I realized that we didn't have time for this.
Yes.
We didn't have time to start convincing people that people are dying when they want to deny it.
That wasn't the priority.
Yes.
Yeah.
The priority should be to try to save as many lives as possible, to try to get help as quick as possible.
Absolutely.
So, and then I stopped engaging with genocide deniers.
Yes.
And I've been trying to, but at the same time, as much as I do not want to engage, it's not like I have an option. Many Tigrayan diasporas have been appealing for the United Nations Security Council to enact its responsibility to protect.
Of course.
But that hasn't still happened, and I suspect one of the reasons is for the failure of the international community to act is the popularity of the war in Addis and in Ethiopia in general.
Yes.
So we don't have an option. We have to reach out to people and make them see what's happening, because I still can't believe people can be this cruel. I still can't believe that they can know what is happening. This is all about TPLF for many people. For many people that support the war, it's like whatever the collateral damage is, as long as the TPLF is destroyed, then they're good with it. They're okay with it.
Yes. Yes.
But this is no longer about TPLF. As long as far as what the federal government is saying, the TPLF has been liquidated as an organization. And what is acting now is the TDF, the Tigrayan Defense Force.
Okay. Which
also includes members of opposition political parties. Opposition parties that were against TPLF when TPLF was in power. This is the people's war for Tigrayans.
Wow. So how much do you feel in terms of the international community, because Mr. Ahmed received the Peace Prize, because in people's minds, the Peace Prize was about unifying, wasn't it? On that basis. And it's easy to just kind of push things away and just think, oh, everything's okay there now. Do you think that has had a bearing on why people are not being realistic?
It was more of for the peace with Eritrea than it was for unifying the country, because he now has the country more divided than it ever probably was.
Wow.
His Nobel Peace Prize was for ending the no war, no peace situation between Ethiopia and Eritrea. Which by the way was not very genuine, as he says he's a Democrat, right? He's saying he loves democracy and all, but you can't make peace with someone like Isaias, a dictator like Isaias, if you uphold any of the values of democracy. Regardless of that, the peace deal was not institutionalized. Members of the public were not aware of what the peace deal meant for Ethiopia and what's meant for Eritrea. It was a two-man show. It was Abiy and Isaias, and that's it.
I see.
It has no bearing other than their own whim, if I may say.
Okay, thank you for that. John, do we have any questions that have come up?
Let me check a bit. No questions. No questions, but we have a listener from his name is Boris Day Abidemi.
Okay.
He likes the music and likes the discussion.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, we've got about just over half an hour left. Let's have some more music, and wow, yeah, we will look at, I don't think we'll be able to have the links, but later on tonight, I'll add the links from yourself, Wolde, from yourself, Fikir, and John. So before we finish, if I can have a list of all the connections and contacts that people can liaise with, because I think some people will leave this conversation today wanting to know what can we do, because for some people they probably weren't fully aware of what's happening currently right now in the Tigray region. So I'm going to give you some more music, please. Let's have the Nazarenes, and the track is called Langa, Eritrean Reggae. Let me turn back on my speaker. Rewind and come again. This is the Nazarenes, track name Langa.
ተመስሎ አማስያሆም ናትንኳላይ ወጋታ ቤተሰሎ አይ አማስያሆም ናትንኳላይ ወይኖ
Gorgeous track from 2010, Nazarenes and Langa. That was a gorgeous track. I'm going to play that track later so loud in the house and dance. I think we all need to do that. This is Reggae Rasta Reasoning. And this is our second reasoning. We're going to hope, John, to be doing this monthly. So stay on board the Reggae Rasta Reasoning train. Today we have two wonderful guests, Fikir and Wolde, and we're talking about Ethiopia, Eritrea, and the worsening situation in Tigray right now. And not pulling any punches. Today is not easy for anyone, but it's hardest for the people who are facing the issues on the ground. So we have the luxury, as Fikir said, of being able to just wonder about this when for some people it's an actual reality. So we have about 30 minutes left. So if we start to, John, I was going to ask you about, because obviously for you, it was important that you raised this in, because we had conversations about whether we should talk about the topic, is it going to be too sensitive? But then we had to override all of that because as human beings, we want the best for our fellow human beings and we don't want to hear, what is happening at the moment. It is so, I don't know the word to describe it. So, John, we're not pulling punches.
No, we are not. In fact, we are building bridges.
Absolutely.
We are building bridges. Yeah, we're building bridges.
Yes,
because it's been interesting for me, as a resident in the continent and following what has been happening in Ethiopia and in Tigray, because I have friends in Tigray. I have friends from also Amhara. So it caught my attention because you could see through the social media, the back and forth, or dismantle TPLF and stuff. And also it affects me here also because the situation also took another angle. You'll find there are also other foreign forces who joined, and also looking at the history and what is said about the regime that was there ruling for over 30 years that also had impact, some will say negative impact within the region. And so you'll find sometimes you'll be accused, you'll be asked by friends in Nairobi, why are you so concerned with the Tigray issue? Do you have a Tigray girlfriend? So I would wonder. Yeah, so it was quite dire, and it affects us because as people who are from from the continent seeing the images. Like we've been seeing gruesome images on Twitter, like people being killed, like people being dragged, people being like like looting, like you could see like looting and stuff, like also the raping, people going to the churches where people think is a sanctuary, and many people being killed, and it was so worrying because like as a human you will feel it. Like war is not kind. For us, Kenya, I would say we experienced a similar in 2007, and it was a really, really hurting time in Kenya, whereby we had a similar like with ethnic cleansing because of the political parties, and we lost like over 1,000 Kenyans, and we had internally displaced people, which has brought problems until today, and also the trauma and stuff. Like it took a miracle for us, like also Kofi Annan, the late, came to put the warring functions together and talk, and they reasoned, and they were able to share power. So like basing from 2007, it raised an alarm for me. Like I was seeing like with the thing happening in Ethiopia, like we wouldn't say like the one in Tigray. Also, there have been incidents like we find like ethnic killings in different parts of like Ethiopia. So like with the Tigray came up in December. Tigray region was peaceful. So like we've been seeing posts on Facebook from friends from different parts of Ethiopia, hurting, and we also hurt as Africans. We will hurt when we see our friends hurt. So like for me, I felt really, 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 really hurt, because also like I have a friend in Tigray. I've never communicated. Since the war started, I've lost in contact with her. I don't know where she is, but I hope she's okay. And seeing the situation is there, and it needs help. It needs help, and also like for me as an artist, I will stand with solidarity. Like how do you stand with solidarity with people from different countries? I wouldn't say like different countries, or also the African continent. Like for example, in Ethiopia, I love Ethiopia a lot. I love culture. I love the food, the lifestyle, the people, and seeing like the situation happening in Tigray, and it's continuing to be worse. It's also affecting us mentally and also psychologically.
Of course. Of course.
Yes.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for that, John. And as artists, I mean, artists and people get suppressed when horrible things like this are happening. So the artist's voice, in terms of Tigray, where is the voice of the artist? How, because artists often are the ones at the front line of conveying information, conveying feeling, conveying the reality of what's happening. And I can only imagine, what's happening at the moment in terms of suppressing. And I mean, wow, the rebuilding of Tigray. I guess that I'm speaking so prematurely right now. But how do you rebuild after this? We're not at the end of it. So talking about rebuilding is so premature. Fikir?
Yes.
Rebuilding. I mean, where is the African Union in the face of all of this?
I would stay away from using the word rebuilding.
Yes.
Regime lobbyists have been using the hashtag rebuild Tigray to give a false information, to make the world think that the war has stopped, and it's now time to rebuild. We've been calling for dialogue even before the war started, and the regime has been ignoring our pleas for dialogue. And now people have started talks of reconciliation.
Mm-hmm. How?
reconciliation, you know, you can talk about reconciliation. There's nothing bad about it. But now it seems like people are making fun of the people that are dying. You don't call for reconciliation while actively killing people. You have to stop killing people before you get to reconcile. You can't depend on reconciliation. That's not a guarantee. You know, of course, the people do not have much choice, right? We live together. Even if Tigray becomes independent, Ethiopia is still going to be a neighbor.
Yes.
And they're not going to stay independent of each other.
Mm-hmm.
So reconciliation will be somewhere in the long process. It's going to be somewhere along the way.
Yes.
But right now, the biggest concern is stopping the genocide, not reconciling with killers that are actively killing with you know, they know what they're doing and they're still actively doing it.
Yes. Wolde.
And
sorry.
The same with rebuilding Tigray.
Yes. Thank you, Fikir.
Tigrayans have built Tigray. They can build Tigray. What they're Tigrayans all around, what they're asking for right now is for Eritrean and Ethiopian troops to leave their country, to leave their homes, and to let them leave in peace.
Thank you, Fikir. Wolde.
Yes, thank you, Fikir, for the wonderful explanation. She described it well. Yes, now it's not the time to talk about rebuilding. You know, the world misunderstood the Tigray cause. I mean, the fighting is not between a certain party called TPLF and the federal government. Now, the war is between the people of Tigray and the federal government with its allies, Eritrean government, the Amhara regional state militia and vigilante groups. And it is not about some certain groups' criminal acts. It's about self-determination. The people of Tigray are seeking the right to self-determination and self-administration. So the way the federal government is narrating the situation is very misleading. That is why I think the international community and the neighboring countries are not acting the way they should have acted. There is an active war now going on. Every day people are dying. The region is in a total blockade of everything. Internet, electricity, access to food, and phone calls, everything. So I think first the Eritrean military has to withdraw from that area. The Amhara vigilante group and all forces has to withdraw. And then the access to humanitarian agencies has to be opened. After that, we can talk about rebuilding, the reconciliation, and all those, pretensions. But for now, there is no such an environment in the region.
Yes. Because if a house is on fire and the people inside, there's no absolute possibility to talk about. You can't even think about repair or anything because the devastation of the fire and the thing is still reaping the damage that it reaps. So I'm trying to quantify it in my head. I think at this point, if we now look at support that people can give for people who are listening, I don't know if you, I mean, the poster that we put out was very clear, but I think for some people, maybe they're a little bit shocked as to this was going to be the topic. But no apologies. This is what it is. And for people who are watching right now, one thing Fikir talked about was about putting the spotlight on the federal government of Ethiopia to say this has to stop. So if everybody who is currently tuning in, this is what we need to do. By the end of tonight, after the video goes onto the YouTube, I will make sure that the connections and the links are given out. This doesn't end tonight. Whatever support we can give, whether it be humanitarian as well as doing what we can to alert governments that we are not happy that this is happening, then that's what we have to do. So yes, it's not even about activism. It's simply about humanity and being a human being right now. So I think this is one of the things that we can leave tonight with those that are watching, rather than just feeling, wow, this thing is happening, and then we just go to our beds and forget about it. So any closing remarks, Wolde, from you?
Yes, I just would like to call up on the neighboring countries like Kenya, Somalia, Sudan, not obviously Eritrea, to really understand the situation in Tigray. I call upon them not only to take the narrative coming from the federal government of Ethiopia as it is literally. I mean, in the absence of all communication means, you can't take the information you get from one side. So I want them to step up their efforts to pressure the federal government to, withdraw its troops from the area, from Tigray, especially to just tell the Eritrean government, because Eritreans are invited, the soldiers are invited by the federal government, and they are here looting, killing, and taking everything just they see. So I want them, the African Union, the neighboring countries, the international community, to just see the situation seriously and then pressure the federal government to stop the war on Tigray, stop the genocide, and give the access to humanitarian agencies to deliver, supply of food, medicine, and everything. After that, dialogue is really, the matter.
Yes. Thank you so much, Wolde. And we're so fortunate to have you with us today for so many different reasons. Thank you for your wonderful input. Fikir, any closing words? Sorry, John, is that you? If you could mute for a short while. Sorry, Fikir. Is it me?
I agree with everything John just said. No, I think it was John. It's okay now. I can hear you fine now. I just want to say that the world's attention should be on Tigray right now. What is happening in Tigray right now is surreal. It's unacceptable, and it does not seem like it's happening in the 21st century. This is something that would be very brutal. If it happened in the Middle Ages, people would still be talking about it, even if it happened in the Middle Ages. We can't let it happen now under our watch. People are dying in thousands every day. People are starving, are deliberately being starved. Tigrayans that are outside of Tigray, Tigrayans in Addis, Tigrayans in other parts of the country, Ethiopia, are being ethnically profiled. They're being detained for no absolute reason. Their homes are being searched. This is a very scary thing, and as we are seeing, the Ethiopian government is not feeling the threat, is not feeling the pressure, and they have no reason to stop unless we become louder. We can't let them get away with this. We need to be loud. The world's eyes need to be on Tigray right now.
Absolutely clear and to the point. And I know everybody listening, thank you so much, Fikir, for sharing that from your heart, from your soul. This has been a very poignant Reggae Rasta reasoning, and it's let's leave today with that notion that we have to do something, no matter how small we think it is. You may think, oh, who am I? I'm just one small voice. What can I do? But if everybody does what they can, then you can't say that you didn't try. So that's what this show today was about, because Rasta and reggae music, which walk hand in hand, are very much about resistance. And they, in the first show, one of the things we talked about was the persecution of the first Rastas in Jamaica, who were murdered Their locks were cut off. They were beaten. The places where the Rasta people lived were burned, were decimated. So when you talk about Rasta, it's not just about, ganja leaves and smoking spliffs. This is an activism that has been around since the 30s. So, and that's what the spirit of Rasta is all about. It's about making things and moving things. So even though we close the show shortly, we hope to continue the dialogue, Wolde and Fikir and Abisalam. I don't know what happened with him, but I'm sure that he's busy doing something. But yeah, we'll continue the dialogue and see how we can add and how we can support after this show goes off the air, because the situation is still ongoing, as you say, and the eyes of the world needs to be in Tigray right now. So thank you guys so much. I'm just humbled. I'm full up, but thank you so much for your time. And we continue to pray for. I know you were saying it's premature because so many other things need to happen, but we just hope that the situation will begin to improve for the people, for the sake of the people of Tigray first and foremost. Thank you so much for your time. John?
Thank you.
What I wanted to say is that for Fikir and we are not all alone. The world, we stand together with you guys, and we've been watching, and we are helping in any way to support, because war is not kind and war is not good. We really hope that the situation will be well, and will be also helping in different ways, also highlighting the situation, also trying to make other Africans also get to understand and help. And I really want to thank you for taking the bold step and being in the session and being in our Reggae Rasta reasoning. It's I'm really happy, and Amaseganalo.
Thank you, John. Thank you for having us.
Can I ask you not to disappear right now? I'm just going to play a little bit of music, but I just want to make those get those connections to put online. So give me 5 minutes. I'll just let the music play for a little while. Don't disappear yet. So everybody, going to play the last piece of music. Thank you so very much for tuning in to our second Reggae Rasta Reasoning. Thank you so much to Fikir, to Wolde, to Abisalam, to John for their input and their beautiful contribution. Thank you so much. Thank you. It's my pleasure. So I'm just going to play some music. Then we're going to disappear in about a little bit earlier. Let me play Hold You to Sedi. It's a beautiful acoustic cover. Come on. Oh, I turned the volume down. That's why. Haha.
Mercy, the money them in the party, the all of them sexy. What them just to follow me, Mercy, another day moment. The shine guy want it. Only pill me, I know my case you come from come on, scoop, but you get. Yes, no señal, dear, my love, many person to Quanquaji, Casulanaga, Pura Mile,
That was to Sedi, Hold You, and for those tuning in, thank you so much for taking the time to listen. we're going to go off air. Stay in tune for our next Reggae Rasta Reasoning coming up next month, all things willing. And we'll please come back to the Musukando page to keep updated as to how you can support what's happening right now. Give your voice and give your humanitarian support as well. Thank you so much, guys, for tuning in.